So hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Amesie's Corner. How are you all doing out there? So today's a good day. It's a little warm. We're gonna go back in the rear garage. There's actually no heat out here, and you know, middle of winter it can kind of be a little too cold to get anything happening. But we got a little break in the temp, so I figured it'd be a good time to see what we got in the boxes of the Cutlass project. We got Ian out here getting the forklift up and going again. He's our latest hire. Really good guy. He's not afraid to rip a forklift apart, as you all can tell. See, so you can tell she's crusty. But yeah, you guys have seen enough of the forklift. Let me get you up on the head cam and let's take a look at what we got in these baskets, which is what I lent the name of this car, the basket case, or a bucket case Cutlass. So yeah, this was actually in there, but we got the heads out. We haven't quite sent them out because we're not sure if we're gonna have rocker arm studs or anything, or what's going on with that. Like I said, this Cutlass was taken apart about 10 years ago and just never got put back together, and it's my job to put Humpty Dumpty out of these buckets and back together. So I hope you guys can see everything. We got looks like we got a lot of rocker arms in here. U-bolts, fold over nuts. I've heard these things called so many different things. Just body fasteners, axle bolts. I don't know if there's axle bolts in this. Just some junky, crappy, random hardware that who knows where that goes. That can actually stay, probably stay over there. So we got Jegs copper anti-seize. There's some anti-seize. Some sandwich bags of couple random bolts, just random generic hardware. If all the push rods look like they're in here, we have some rocker arms. I wonder what ratio. Usually these will say on them 1.6. That sounds about right. 455A, 1.6M, 1.6M. Yeah, so those are 1.6 ratio roller rockers. I guess what happened is you pulled a couple of rockers out of the studs, or the studs out of the rockers, out of the heads for the rockers rather. So that's just some upgrade performance parts, which probably caused the reason the thing had to come apart. All right. Now this looks like what I'm looking for right here. We didn't know if we'd have the rocker studs or not. And it looks like a somewhat open but complete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 rocker arm studs. That looks good. Those will probably be able to be used. Do we have stud nuts? Everyone's stud needs nuts. Oh yeah, here we go. Rocker arm stud nut kit. Looks like we're missing 1, 2, 3, 4 teeth. We're missing some teeth here. We get some guys AWOL. Looks like they might be in here with some random push rods. There's some random push rods. There's some studs, stud nuts. 1 stud nut. Ha ha ha. 2 stud nut. Ha ha ha. 3 stud nuts. Oop, stud nut on the run. We got 3. There's got to be a 4th in here somewhere. There it is. Alright, so we got those. We got all the stud nuts. Nuts for your studs. Oh, we got some spark plugs. Some grimy, low mileage spark plugs. NGK V-Power. Remember that was such a big deal. A little cut in the electrode for the V-Power. Some alternator hardware, just very loosely packaged, very loosely described, random. Maybe some carburetor linkage bits, I'm guessing. Maybe the tranny kicked down, I'm not sure. What are all of these? All push rod guides. That's good to know. We got the push rod guides, comp cams labeled. Oh, bracket, random bracket. That's going to be a blast figuring those brackets out. We got a big old bunch of, look like another bag of rocker arm studs. I don't know if you guys can see them. You have to take my word for it. They look really small as compared to the other ones. We have thermostat, other hardware. What do we got in the tag? what is it? Exhaust. Those are going to be exhaust manifold bolts. Alternator. Some stainless steel hardware. Valve cover bolts. And springs. I'll pull these gasket kits right out of here. Full set, full engine gasket set. Head gaskets, exhaust manifold, valve covers, stems and valve seals, water outlet, everything you're going to need to put an old small block Chevy back together gasket wise. And what's this other kit? That's a complete gasket set. What's this set? Manifolds. Exhaust manifolds, I'm guessing. Intake manifolds. I was wrong. Intake. So, I think those would be in the complete set. Here are these valve covers. One of you guys made a mention about those not being original or right or something or other. I don't know. Alternator. Useless hardware box. No, and there's the intake. Oh, the intake's got all its bolts in place. Are all those there? Maybe missing one. Probably rolling around back here somewhere. Let's take a look. Ooh. I got a tip. Left me a tip. That's almost enough to buy a cup of coffee. Almost. What's this liner? This Repro liner. I've seen the spackle paint. That was popular back in the early 2000s, which makes sense, this being a 10-year taken apart car. Alright, so that's everything in the buckets, and that's all the parts I got to go on. And I think we have enough to send those heads out and get those rocker studs put in. I'm not sure what we're going to run for rockers. I guess he pulled the stud out of the head, and that was the whole reason of taking it apart, was to get the heads sent out to have the rocker arm stud put in. I wonder if those were upgraded from these skinny looking ones. These look really stingy looking rocker studs to those bigger studs. That must be what they had done. Alright, so we're going to have those heads sent out, and then we're going to be waiting for them to come back in another warm day. But just for the video's sake, let's take a look. Now, one of you guys made a mention about me taking a dingle hone, a bore hone, and using it to help get this rust out of here. You know, I'm not real worried about the dingle hone leaving bits. My plan was to actually use putty, mastic putty, and put it around the piston crowns, and that's going to collect and keep any of that, any of the abrasives from the hone from getting down in the rings. And I think it's worth doing, because some of these cylinders, I hope you guys can see it. I really can't tell what you're looking at, but hopefully you'll see us how rusty that is. And I think letting the rings clean that up is just going to be worse than getting a little bit of abrasives on the rings. The engine will pass like abrasives like that pretty quickly. And like I said, a little mastic putty, piston all the way down the bore, a little strip of mastic putty all the way around, and then, you know, do my honing, then clean it up. I think we'll be fine. We're also going to get some new lifters for this thing, because we don't know if anything happened to those lifters, if that may have lent to the rocker studs getting pulled out of the head. Anyways, that's where we are today. I'm losing light, we're losing heat out here, so I was hoping to maybe try to get some honing done on at least one of these, but it's just not in the books for today. Anyways, guys, yeah. Woo. Well, anyways, guys, just a quick guerrilla video on the bucket list, the bucket case Cutlass. So, yeah, on that note, and until next time, keep it out of the cabbage.